Video, I would like to introduce you a very nice problem of Flanders Mathematical Olympiad edition 1992, question number 4. Okay, here is the following information. We have capital A, capital B and P are positive numbers such that we have P is inferior or equal to capital A plus capital B. So we have the letter A as we have theta 1, theta 2 are the real numbers such that we have this condition. Capital A is multiplied by cosine theta 1 plus B is multiplied by cosine theta 2 equals P. Our question, we are going to prove capital A is multiplied by sine theta 1 plus capital B is multiplied by sine theta 2 is inferior or equal to square root of this product, A plus B minus P and capital B plus capital B plus P. Okay, so the question number 2 is a particular case of the first one. Okay, so when we have the equality occurs, when we have theta 1 equals theta 2 equals theta. So the hint that I'm trying to give to this problem, just try to use the trigonometry identities and it will be easier to solve this inequality. Okay, so go ahead, pause this video and give the try to this problem. When you are, come back to see the full solution. By the way, don't forget to support us with your like and subscribe. Now let's get started. First of all, before we proceed with the solution, I'm going to remind you about very important and useful trigonometry formula for the cosine. When you have cosine theta 1, the difference of these angles theta 1 minus theta 2 is given as cosine theta 1 is multiplied by cosine theta 2 plus sine of theta 1 is multiplied by sine theta 2. Okay, so the same thing for the cosine, we have theta 1 plus theta 2, so instead to put plus sign we put minus sign. Okay, now we need this one to use it as a tool. Okay, before we go forward to the next step, I'm going to show the theta 1, theta 2 is located between 0 and pi over 2. Okay, since we have this equation equals to P, we know these numbers are positive, is a positive, and A and B are positive. That means cosine theta 1 and cosine theta 2 are the positive as well. So since A is multiplied by cosine theta 1 plus B is multiplied by cosine theta 2 equals P, is strictly superior than 0. And also capital A and capital B is strictly superior than 0. This one is telling us cosine theta 1 and cosine theta 2 is strictly superior than 0 as well. So this one is telling us theta 1 and theta 2 are in this range 0 and pi over 2. Okay, now is not included 0 but it is included pi over 2. Okay, what we know about cosine theta in this interval, we know is strictly superior than 0 cosine theta 1 and inferior or equal to 1, and the same thing with cosine theta 2. Okay, so it's telling us cosine theta 1 cosine theta 2 is inferior or equal to 1. Okay, now I'm going to start from this point and get arrived to here. Okay, so I know cosine theta 1 minus theta 2 is superior equal to 0 and inferior equal to 1. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to multiply both sides by 2ab. Okay, so we'll have 2ab here, we'll have 2ab here, then I'm going to add a square plus b square on all sides. Okay, so by doing that I will have plus a square here plus b square here, and also we'll have a square here plus b square here. Okay, so this one is giving us a plus b quaternary square. Okay, this is very straightforward identity. We know this one is a form quadratic identity. Now we have the following expression. We'll have a square plus b square plus 2 times a is multiplied by b is multiplied by cosine theta 1 minus theta 2 is inferior or equal to capital A plus capital B quaternary square. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do now, so we know 1 equals cosine square theta 1 plus sine square theta 1. I'm going to replace number 1 with this fact in both terms. I will have a square is multiplied by this one and b square will multiply by this one. Okay, so we'll have as follow: a square is multiplied by sine square theta 1 plus cosine square theta 1 plus capital B square is multiplied by sine square theta 2. This time I'm going to put theta 2 instead theta 1, okay? Plus cosine square theta 2, okay? Plus this term. Also, I'm going to write this term of cosine theta 1 minus theta 2 as this expression that I have shown before, okay? Which is 2 times is multiplied by capital A, capital B is multiplied by cosine theta 1, cosine theta 2 plus sine theta 1, sine theta 2 is all is inferior or equal to capital A plus capital B quantity square, okay? Now the next thing, I'm going to distribute these two terms. First of all, I'm going to put, I will have A square here is multiplied by sine square theta 1 plus B square is multiplied by sine square theta 2. So now I'm separating sine theta and put them on one side and cosine theta term on the other side of this inequality, okay? So now plus this term plus 2 is multiplied by EB is multiplied by sine theta 1 sine theta 2. So all the sine terms you will be on the left hand side of this inequality. Then I'm going to put inferior equal to this capital A as I have before, quantity square, minus I'm going to put all the cosine terms on the right hand side of this inequality. So we'll have capital A square is multiplied by cosine square theta 1 minus, with this minus, I put minus as a common factor. I will have B square is multiplied by cosine square theta 2 minus, with this plus because I have minus as a common factor, I will have 2AB is multiplied by cosine theta 1 cosine theta 2, okay? I'm going to transfer this expression into quantity square, which is the form quadratic polynomial, which is A is multiplied by sine theta 1 plus B is multiplied by sine theta 2 quantity square. If we distribute this one, it's taking us to the original one, okay? So I will have A square sine square theta 1 plus B square sine theta 2 plus 2 times AB is multiplied by sine theta 1 sine theta 2. It's all inferior or equal to this term. I will have A plus B quantity square. This one is also the same as A is multiplied by cosine sine theta 1 plus B is multiplied by cosine theta 2 quantity square, okay? This term is the same as we have here, okay? This one is a P, okay? I will have capital A is multiplied by sine theta 1 plus B is multiplied by sine theta 2 quantity square is inferior or equal to capital A plus capital B quantity square minus P square, okay? I have the difference of two squares. I'm going to factor out this one. I will have capital A plus capital B minus P factor capital A plus capital B plus P. Now I'm going to apply the square root on both sides. I will have capital A is multiplied by sine theta 1 plus capital B is multiplied by sine theta 2 is inferior or equal to square root of capital A plus capital B minus P factor capital A plus capital B plus P, okay? Now I have proven this one as I have it above. Now let's move on to the next question when we have equality occurs here, okay? Now when we have theta 1 equals theta 2 equals theta, I'm simply going to replace theta 1 theta 2 with a theta into this inequality to see where we have equality here. So I'm going to start with the left hand side of this inequality and do the right hand side of this inequality. At the end we are going to make the comparison. At this time I'm going to replace theta 1 and theta 2 with theta. So we'll have capital A is multiplied by sine theta plus capital B is multiplied by sine theta. I'm going to take the sine theta as a common factor. I will have A plus B is multiplied by sine theta. So we finish with the left hand side of this inequality. Let's move on to the right hand side of this inequality. So you have the square root of capital A plus capital B minus P factor capital A plus capital B plus P. So we have the square root to 1 over 2 as an exponent. So I'm going to distribute this one. It's given us A plus P quantity square minus P square. Okay, like this. So I'm going to replace P with its value. I will have capital A plus capital B quantity square minus capital A plus capital B, because I'm replacing theta 1 theta 2 with theta. So we'll get A plus B as a common factor is multiplied by cosine square theta. Okay, I'm going to take A plus B as a common factor. I will have capital A plus capital B factor 1 minus cosine square theta. We know 1 minus cosine theta is the same as sine square theta. So we'll have A plus B square sine square theta. I'm going to take the square root of this one as I have here. So we'll have the square root of capital A plus capital B square minus P square is giving us A plus B is multiplied by sine theta. Now we have the equality. Now we have equality here. This one is the same as this one. Okay. Now we have done this problem. If you are interested in this one, don't forget to support us with a like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye.